Hello everyone and welcome back to Strategic Labs, the channel where we deeply analyze the ideas, narratives, and strategies behind the documents. Today, we are going to dive into the material we have on the table. Before we start, please leave a like, share the episode, subscribe to the channel, and remember to check the description for the links to access the original material. So, Mark, we're digging into Edward H. Whitmore's Covert Operations series, Iran, and it really challenges a lot of common assumptions. It asks a pretty profound question. What if the most powerful nations aren't the ones with the biggest armies?
Exactly, Sarah. This quote right here from the book just sets the stage perfectly. It's telling us to basically forget everything we think we know about conventional military might. We're about to step into a world where real influence is totally invisible, and power is exercised through whispers and shadows, not through tanks and jets.
And to really get a handle on this shadow system, we first have to talk about the story we've all been told for decades, right? The myth of a cornered Iran.
Right. This is the image you've probably seen 1,000 times on the news. Iran, the pariah state, completely boxed in. Crippled by sanctions, diplomatically isolated, with a conventional military that's really no match for its regional rivals. The whole narrative is that it's a nation that can only react to what others do. It can't ever truly act on its own terms.
But here's where Whitmore just flips the entire script. The core argument of his book is that this picture of weakness, it's a deliberate illusion. And behind that facade is a proactive, incredibly sophisticated, and truly global system of power. And this is the central, almost startling thesis. Iran didn't just, survive all these constraints. It actually weaponized them. It engineered this covert system that has learned to transform every single one of its perceived weaknesses into a unique and powerful strength.
The book gives this a name, asymmetric strength. And this concept is the strategic key to everything they do. Think of it like geopolitical jujitsu, right? You're using your opponent's own weight and power against them. When you know you can't win a head-on fight, you just change the nature of the fight entirely. You move it into the shadows, where traditional power is, it's pretty much useless.
And this whole system, according to the book, is built on 3 pillars that work in perfect concert. You've got a vast intelligence network that acts as the brain, then a global web of proxy forces that serve as its hands, and finally, a really powerful cyber capability that operates in the digital world.
But how it's all structured, this is where the strategy gets really counterintuitive, because what looks like a major flaw from the outside is actually its greatest strength.
Yeah, at the very top, you don't just have one agency, you have multiple competing intelligence bodies. You've got the MOS for traditional spycraft, the IRGC for internal security, and then the elite Quds Force for all their foreign operations. And here's the critical part. Their responsibilities are designed to overlap and even compete with each other.
Anywhere else in the world, you'd look at that and say it's a total mess. Inefficient, dysfunctional, just classic bureaucratic infighting. But the book's most powerful insight is that this is entirely by design. This internal rivalry creates plausible deniability. Who do you blame? Was it us or them? It makes the entire network incredibly resilient and way harder to infiltrate. It's not a bug. It's a core feature of this system's design.
So okay, that's the theory. But how does this abstract system actually translate into real-world impact? A few key examples from the book show just how lethally effective, and maybe more importantly, adaptable it's become. Just look at the operations in Argentina. The 1992 embassy bombing was this brutal proof of concept. It showed they could strike anywhere in the world. But the real story here is the speed of evolution. Just 2 years later, the EMEA bombing was exponentially more sophisticated, more coordinated, and far more deadly. It revealed a system that could learn and adapt at a terrifying speed.
And that evolution wasn't just limited to the physical world. A huge turning point came when the system itself got attacked, not with bombs, but with computer code. And ironically, that attack would end up making them even stronger.
The 2010 Stuxnet attack, it was meant to cripple Iran's nuclear program. It was a huge blow, no question, and it exposed these massive vulnerabilities. But true to form, they turned that weakness into a strength. They responded by pouring resources into their own cyber warfare programs, creating these elite hacking units that can now rival some of the best in the world. The attack basically created a digital monster that it was meant to prevent.
So when you put all of this together, you have the asymmetric strategy, the fragmented design, the evolution from physical bombs to digital code. What does it tell us about the new rules of power in the 21st century? The implications are pretty profound.
I think this is the ultimate takeaway from the book. Judging Iran by its conventional military is like judging an iceberg by the little tip you see sticking out of the water. The vast, hidden, and truly dangerous part is the invisible network that operates beneath the surface. the power to shape events without ever actually showing its hand.
So here's what we really need to take away from this analysis. First, we have to forget the old metrics. Power today isn't just about tanks and jets. It's about having sustained, deniable influence. Second, you have to understand that this influence is being wielded across all domains: physical, digital, economic. And finally, and maybe most importantly, we have to recognize that what appears to be a weakness can actually be engineered to be the most powerful weapon of all.
Which leaves us with this one final, and I think crucial question. In a world of digital networks and shadowy proxies, is the power you can see the only power that truly matters anymore? We've reached the end of this analysis. If this episode added value to your day, please leave a like, share it, and subscribe to Strategic Labs so we can keep deconstructing narratives. Remember to check the video description. See you in the next analysis.